She grew up in a family of builders, but never had a ride of her own. Imagine being surrounded by people who live and breathe cars, but never getting to have one yourself. Why was she always left watching from the sidelines? Her dad raced dirt track cars, her brothers built custom rides. And Linda, she spent decades helping, watching, and admiring. But somehow, it was never her turn. She never asked for the spotlight, never made it about her. She just quietly dreamed. In this video, we're sharing the story of one woman who waited a lifetime to finally build her dream, a beautiful 55 Ford pickup. The dream sat dormant for decades. Life has a way of pushing dreams to the back burner, especially when you're working long hours and trying to pay bills and just get by. But what happens when the grind finally ends? Linda spent her entire career at the Budweiser factory. That meant lifting, loading, and moving kegs every day. And for a little old lady, that's nothing simple. There was no time or cash for a custom build, but then came retirement. Most people slow down, but she was just getting started. A friend had picked up a random old Ford truck with a trailer he'd purchased and offered it to Linda. Excitedly, she said yes. Projects like these rarely start clean, and her project was no exception. Of course, the truck came to her in pieces. Some parts were correct and some were unusable. But most were thrashed and some weren't even for a Ford pickup at all. This was going to be a big project. So the truck bounced around between hands, delays, and dead ends. In fact, the body shop she took it to shut down after a divorce, so she had to get it out of there quickly. That's when she found me, and it landed here at Gearhead Garage. She had a ton of wants and wishes. She had some good ideas, and maybe a few bad ones too. So I assessed the truck and put together a build plan. One that took into account everything she was hoping for. A plan that would be the framework for the project moving forward thoughtfully, efficiently, and with budget in mind. We wanted to gain clear direction, and we didn't want to waste time and money doing anything twice. So we developed a build plan. If you're planning a build plan is a must. Click the link below to learn more. She didn't just want a truck, she wanted the truck. Linda wasn't settling for stock or simple. She wanted something that could stand proudly next to her brother's builds. It had to be gorgeous, so the bodywork would have to be perfect and the color would need to be striking. It had to be a little different, so we eliminated most of the chrome and made the truck look a lot sleeker than initially stock. We collaborated with our colleague Steve and his crew to get the body perfect and sprayed in this stunning Ford Lightning Blue. It came out amazing. This paint, the contrasting grille, trim, and hubcaps. And check out this custom wood bed. And most of all, it had to be reliable and comfortable. Because she wasn't just building a showpiece. She planned to drive this thing, so the suspension needed upgraded, the drivetrain needed to be bulletproof, and the steering and braking had to be on point. For the engine, we opted to keep it Ford. We went with a 331 stroker motor from Blueprint Engines. With a roller cam and an Edelbrock fuel injection, this thing runs strong and reliably. She wanted an automatic and had already purchased a performance C4 transmission, so we kept that and added a mild stall converter, and then put 323 gears in the rear to give her a bit of pep, but ensure that the truck would still be able to cruise on the highway. And since the truck needed to drive well, we ripped out all the old leaf spring suspension and installed a Mustang 2 style front IFS suspension with power rack and pinion steering, tubular control arms, and coilover shocks. In the rear, we added a 4-link coilover conversion and a 9-inch rear end. You may notice that the truck now sits on air ride. Usually, we try not to do anything twice, but in this case, Linda decided she wanted the option to be low at shows, lift the truck up to get into her driveway, instead of the middle when she's cruising around town. And the brakes, we went with disc brakes on all 4 corners, plus added a power brake booster underneath for a clean look and to make sure she had a little power assist to optimize braking and safety. As we go inside, I'm reminded about one huge horror story with this truck, the title. When we first got the truck, we helped Linda get the VIN numbers located and the VIN verified by a third-party specialist and gave her info to take to the DMV so she could go get it registered. But apparently, on the first try, she couldn't get it registered or titled. It wasn't until after the truck was completely painted, running and driving with all the interior done, that I realized she still didn't have a title. I started to get worried. I had to spend hours scouring the freshly powder coated frame to try to locate the original VIN that was completely covered in. I found a hint of it underneath the fender well and towed it to DMV and helped her plead her case and try to get them to understand that this was the faded VIN that's actually for this truck, that matches her almost non-existent paperwork and the old photo from when she first got the truck. Well, hours later at the DMV, Linda had her title and her plates, and I had a jubilant customer on my hands. She was so excited that she was jumping up and down, giddy with delight, telling everyone and anyone that would listen, I just got my plates, I just got my plates. It was a little embarrassing, but it was also pretty dang cool. It's easy to forget how emotional these projects can get until someone like Linda reminds you. She wasn't just a client, she became family. Every time she visited, she brought joy. Her stories, her energy, her tiny dogs riding shotgun, it wasn't just about the truck anymore. It was about her journey, her moment. Okay, back to the interior. All right, so let's check out this interior. I said the truck had to be comfortable, right? So first and foremost, it had to have the right comfort and ergonomics for her. So we went with a Glide Engineering bench seat that's adjustable, has armrests in it, and then we custom sewed it in leather to match the motif we were after. Also, so she'd be optimized in steering and handling, we put in a tilt column so we could get the steering wheel exactly where we want it. And we went with a little bit smaller steering wheel from Budnick so we'd have a little bit tighter, more responsive steering, and she wouldn't have to do that old school bus kind of deal while she's driving. When you're sitting in the cockpit, you notice we've got a nice set of Dakota digital gauges. That equals safety to me because we can make sure that the engine is going to be able to be monitored. These gauges are programmable and accurate, so we can make sure that when she's cruising down the highway, cruising around town with the AC on, we can make sure the truck's not overheating, that oil pressure's right, battery's charging, everything else. In addition to that, we went ahead and did a vintage era AC system in here because she lives in Northern California and it's hot up here. So we've got vintage era AC system in here, and so that actually does AC and heat for us. So it gives us a nice heater inside, good defrost, good blend. We built a lower panel in order to kind of hide some of that. Also, we've got a head unit here that runs the stereo system. She wanted to have a rockin' stereo, so we built custom kick panels here that hide some speakers in there. And then behind the seat, you can see we've just got like kind of a speaker box and a couple speakers back there. And she's got a little access to get back there. So kind of wanted to touch all the bases and tick all the boxes. Additionally, we told you we went ahead and did air rides, so we've got ride tech on the truck, and these are our gauges for our controls. We've got our controls here. We also went ahead and did power windows on this thing. I know it's not a long reach to reach to the passenger side, but who wants to be bothered? We got power windows, and additionally, to run the power windows and the stereo, we completely rewired the truck using an American Auto Wire harness, which in my opinion is the best in the game. So we completely rewired the truck with American Auto Wire, did bright LED headlights and taillights. Additionally, you saw we added a few things, like we've got this electric hood that pops up for her. We did fuel injection. We've got an electric parking brake from a company called E-Stop, if you've never seen that. That way we don't need a brake pedal. Just a lot of different amenities to make sure that she was gonna have not just a classic truck, not just the truck, but a modern truck that had the amenities that she'd be able to use and take her girls out cruising around. Today, she doesn't just have a ride, she has a legacy. After all those years of waiting, working, and watching, Linda finally rolled out in something all her own. So how does it feel to cross the finish line? Say hello. We're finally doing this.
I'm doing this.
This is the literal first drive.
This one. Yes, I have a truck, and it's real, and it's coming home. Look out, people.
She's not chasing anyone else's dream. She's living her own. She built something real, and she plans to use it. Tootle around town, meet the girls for lunch, wave at strangers, because now it's her name on the title, her hands on the wheel, and her dream come true.